Let's let it eat!
Welcome to the 1600s.
This is the beginning of a long epic of Queens history, which would feature various political transitions and the establishing of the borough we know so well today.
Countless tales of individual performance and Queen's greatness is what makes up our borough today.
But before we venture into the wonders of Queens, let's rewind nearly 4 centuries ago, where the original founders were just beginning the saga of Queens history.
Queens Historia by Zed, Chris, Andy, Jasmine, and Jesse. Colonization of Queens with Zed.
Ages ago, before the rapid exploitation of northeastern America by various colonial empires, Queens was a diverse platform for many Native American tribes. These tribes mainly took advantage of the numerous bays and marshes that dotted the Queens landscape. The irrigation-based lifestyle present on western Long Island provided necessary vegetable supplements and sustained the natives enough to establish a complex society. The early 1600s, however, featured a substantial shift in the historical dynamic, majorly fueled by the introduction of European colonists. The explorer attributed with first setting eyes on the Queens was Dutch voyager Adrian Blok, on behalf of the Dutch East Indies Company. Blok's exploration soon led to the formation of the Dutch New Amsterdam, led by famous Dutch mayor and colonist Peter Stuyvesant. Eager to take advantage of the bordering lands and fulfill the growing Dutch imperialistic ambition, Mayor Stuyvesant issued several land grants for further exploration and development in the northern Queens regions, present-day Astoria, and Hunters Point. Further growth in the Queens region contributed to the establishment of Flushing, which featured many significant political events and transitions such as the Flushing Remonstrance.
Hold up, what was the Flushing Remonstrance?
Welcome to Queen's History, the game show. Our contestant today is Brad. Our first question today is, what was the Flushing Remonstrance? Was it A, the gathering of colonists to eat a turkey on November 28, 1667? B, a petition sent in 1657 to Dutch Governor Peter Stuyvesant, which upon passing authorized a Quaker settlement in Flushing without religious boundaries? Or C, the assassination of Johannes Flushing in Queens?
Let's see, I think it's B. Definitely B.
You win!
Anyway, the rapidly broadening Dutch realm in North America imperiled the opposing aspirations of the English monarch. Although the imminent prospect of English invasion loomed upon the Dutch colonists, political processes were mainly directed towards advancing efforts in cultivating land and appealing the Dutch monarch. Within several decades, the combined force of the intervening English and warring natives diminished the Dutch, and a new era of colonization, ultimately ending with the American independence, would dawn upon Queens.
Oh my God!
Jesse presents Townsend Harris, the real man.
One major figure in Queens history happens to have the very name of our school. Townsend Harris was born in 1804 and was a highly auspicious diplomat born in Sandy Hills, Queens. Harris is primarily known for his significant role in founding diplomacy and commercial relations with Japan during the mid-1800s. Specifically quoted was saying Japan was like the golden age of the world, which he hadn't seen anywhere else in the world. Furthermore, Harris is responsible for the 1856 treaty with Siam, present in Thailand, to advance commercial relations. Back in New York, he became the president of the New York City Board of Education, starting in 1846 and quitting in 1848. After a successful life in promoting diplomatic relations across the world and improving educational standards, he died on February 25th, 1878. He is currently buried in Greenwood Cemetery in Brooklyn.
Townsend Harris interview with Christian.
Hello, my name is Townsend Harris, and I'm an American diplomat to Japan. I live in Japan at the U.S. Consulate, where I coordinate diplomatic affairs with the Emperor and the Japanese government. Recently, I helped pass the Harris Treaty of 1858, which is named after yours truly, and which establishes trade between my beloved America and Japan. Hopefully, I will contribute to further eminence across the Pacific.
Here are some Townsend Harris fun facts, which says,
Did Townsend Harris A. have a strict diet of potatoes and sardines? B. Buy the island Togono near Tokyo, Japan? Or C. Accidentally get reported as dead while working in the Japanese embassy? And the answer is... C. Townsend Harris was accidentally reported dead in a freak accident that resulted in several mistaken obituaries. Thank you, and let's continue the podcast.
Overview of the Queenssboro Bridge with Jasmine.
Hello, my name is Queenssboro Bridge, and I'm here to talk to you about some of my history. I am the reason you guys can travel between the boroughs Manhattan and Queens. I extend over the East River, where my friend Roosevelt Island is located. I am a cantilever bridge, which for all my non-bridge experts means I am supported with horizontal beams and trusses called cantilevers. It also means I am special, because I am the only cantilever bridge of New York East River bridges. The rest are boring suspension bridges. Dynamic duo bridge engineer Gustav Landenthal and architect Henry Hornbostel, along with other people whose names I can't remember, directed my creation. They are the reason I am here talking to you guys. Feel free to go visit their graves and congratulate them on creating the best bridge in the world. My childhood was full of developing and growing from 1901 through 1909. On June 18th, 1909, I was finally ready to go out into the world. I like expensive things, always have and always will, which is probably why, during my childhood, my creators spent $80 million on me. Also, as they say, it takes a village, and my village was great and supportive. However, unfortunately, 50 people responsible for who I am today died as I was growing. By the time I was able to live on my own, I had grew 7,499 feet, meaning I became the fourth longest bridge. As the years passed, I went through some changes based on the difficult time period I experienced. I changed my identity from Blackwell Island Bridge to Queensboro Bridge. I needed a change, and what better way than to start with my name? I was neglected during the 20th century, which led to construction changes that cost $30 million. I went through multiple changes in my lifetime to become the bridge you know today. Feel free to thank me for my services the next time you visit. Thank you for listening.
Hello and welcome to an exciting session of Queensboro Bridge Fun Facts. That's right, folks. Today, we are going over some of the wackiest Queensboro Bridge fun facts. Let's start with the Queensboro Bridge's actual name. That's right, it really isn't called the Queensboro Bridge. It's actually called the Ed Koch Queensboro Bridge, named after City Mayor Ed Koch, the former mayor. Okay, another fun fact, ready? There's actually a tramway that spans the distance from Manhattan to Roosevelt Island in alignment with the Queensboro Bridge. That means it's right next to the Queensboro Bridge. You can see if you look on the Queensboro Bridge and you look whichever direction you are, you look left or right, whatever, you will see there's this tramway. Wow, it's pretty intense. And finally, did you know that the Queensboro Bridge is actually also it can be referred to as New York State Route 25. That's right. It's kind of a New York State route, a highway. That's pretty amazing, folks. Thank you. And stay tuned for more.
It's time for the Corona Ash Dumps, written by Andy and performed by Jasmine.
Flushing Meadows Corona Park has many names. The most known ones are Flushing Meadows Park, or even just Flushing Meadows. This park is the most popular place for people and families to hang out, and for good reason. This landmark connects many other popular sites within the borough of Queens. Some of the attractions include the Queens Museum, the Hall of Science, the Queens Zoo, and the World Ice Air Arena and Pool. The park is filled to the brim of activities for everyone, no matter their interests. The nature within the park is enchanting. It represents the best side of Queens, and how well the plant's life is taken care of. Although its surrounding is unmeasurably gorgeous, it wasn't always this way. From the beginning, it was a complete landfill. During the 1900s, it was used as a place to dispose of garbage and waste. The area was the city's garbage bin. It was even given the name the Valley of Ashes because the waste was as dense as snow on the ground during a snowstorm. It was impossible for anyone to see past the waste, no matter what angle you attempt to gaze through. One ash pile was so enormous that it towered over the land at almost 100 feet. This landfill was not just filled with ash, despite its name. It had everything a dumpster had, which meant it would also attract what a dumpster would: rats. A complete infestation of rats and rodents filled the area of what would be the most beautiful park in Queens. It was so severe that an army of exterminators were sent to abolish the vermins that inhabited the valley. This hazardous dump would lead to a court trial on the Brooklyn Ash Removal Company, which claimed that it was helping the community instead of destroying it. After this trial, the Valley of Ashes would not survive much longer. Enter a man by the name of Robert Moses. He envisioned a gorgeous park in place of the grim landfill. He was an incredibly wealthy man who brought the Valley of Ashes and did everything in his power to clean it up and transform the site into today's spectacular Flushing Meadows Corona Park.
The World's Fair. For generations, it has been a hub of inspiration and innovation. Also known as World Expos, these fairs capture the imagination and ensnare the mind in visions of tomorrow. Although they are no longer as prevalent in the past, these international spectacles were celebrated by myriad populations the world over.
Incredible!
And during this period of World's Fair stardom, Flushing, Queens, hosted the fair not once, but twice.
How is this possible?
First in 1939 and 1940, and then yet again in 1964 and 65.
Wow, that's cool!
At the first fair in 1939, 44 million people attended.
44 million.
What made this number even more impressive was the timing of the fair, sandwiched right between the Great Depression and World War II. Sounds like a great sandwich. At this wonderful exposition, tourists admired such marvels as a time capsule that would be opened in 5,000 years, a creepy, talking, cigarette-smoking humanoid robot, sounds like fun, and Tyrone's periscope. Fine, the Trilon and the Perisphere. In 1964, lightning struck a second time. Once again, we had the honor of hosting the World's Fair. This time, we were able to present even more wonders to the world, including the famous Disney It's a Small World ride.
There's so much that we share that it's time we're aware it's a small world after all.
Jetpacks, yes, that's right, jetpacks. Belgian waffles.
Yum.
And even new centerpieces, the Unisphere and 3 observation towers, which would later make a very famous appearance in the movie Men in Black.
Not going all the way up plan.
Whatever happens, don't let him get on the second shift.
What? What are you talking about?
Keep him on this planet.
And finally, we present the unveiling of the first ever Townsend Harris song.
He wanted to be the very best, like no one ever was. To teach them was his real test, for peace was his cause. He traveled across the land, speaking far and wide, teaching people to understand the unity inside. Townsend Harris, gotta unite them all, it's history. His skills were no mystery. Townsend Harris, oh, an American man who made peace with Japan. Townsend Harris, oh, his memory won't fade. Understanding is what he made. With the Harris tree, stylish trade. Townsend Harris, gotta unite them all. Gotta unite them all. Townsend Harris.
Thank you for listening to this podcast, Queens Historia. It was edited by yours truly, Zev Mar, and voiced by Christian McKay, Jesse Lawson, Jasmine Perez Gutierrez, and myself. Credits to Andy Liu for writing several scripts. This song, Blitzkrieg Bop by the Ramones, as well as In the Club, Beat by 50 Cent, were both composed by artists from Queens. This podcast was sponsored by Moton Geography Center, the best YouTube channel with expert geographical analysis. Thank you for listening, and have a nice day.